Welcome back to the Locked On Fantasy Hockey Podcast, people, with Steele and Flip, and it's time to get very, very serious. We have hockey back. We are doing a draft with our listeners live on air today. All kinds of special reaction and breakdowns. Thank you for joining us. Let's get right to it.
You're Locked On Fantasy Hockey, your daily podcast on fantasy hockey. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Should have gone with Morgan Riley first.
Ooh,
and
Shabbat.
salary arbitration is going with two defensemen back to back.
Hey, I don't hate it, Steele. I don't hate it.
I don't hate it either. Look, I'm looking at some defensemen right now. I'm looking for all categories. Devin Taves is still on the board. I think I can wait a little bit for him. Quinn Hughes is on the board. He's got the points, but his hits and blocks are slacking. Darnell Nurse is a defenseman who I really like to go back to. My defenseman might be hurting for a little bit. I think I've got to go back with Johnny Gaudreau. I've got 25 seconds.
Okay, all right.
There's a lot of guys here on the board still. Johnny Gaudreau.
There are so many good players on the board here.
There are so many. Chris Kreider's still on the board. I'm going to do it. I'm going to go Johnny Gaudreau. I think that's a great round to select him, especially with the season he just had. Obviously, he's not going to have that many points again, but he's still going to be electric with Patrick Laine.
You know, like as much as my common sense wants to agree with what you just said, obviously he's not going to have that many points, but why not? Why couldn't he have that many points? I understand the lineup was probably more indicative for him scoring more in Calgary. But if Laine, Jenner, and him click, and I know the preseason doesn't show much, I don't know. I don't hate it. So I'm just, maybe I'm drinking too much Kool-Aid here, Steele. What I will say is I'm back up, and this is going to be a long night, people. A long afternoon, a long morning, whenever you're listening. We're going to split this up into a couple of episodes. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for riding with the Locked On Fantasy Hockey Podcast. And if you are listening right now and you're all in the league with us, thank you for showing us that love as well. We appreciate it. If you appreciate us and you're feeling what you're listening, jump on and hit that subscribe. Drop us a review, a follow, whatever it is. And I am back on the clock, Steele. I have Kaprizov in the left wing, Laine on the right, Fox on the blue line, two goalies already. I want to go another D-man, but I can't help but feel I need a centerman. I was talking to a very diehard Montreal Canadiens fan today. Nick Suzuki is a special player. I am comfortable with adding him into my center core. I know the Montreal Canadiens are going to have their issues, but what he is going to do with Cole Caulfield and whoever else is in that top mix with him, he's going to put up points. I'm going to take Nick Suzuki here. 6th round. That's my pick.
I don't think that's a bad pick at all. We talked about him just the other day as well. Obviously being one of the only two players that you can really draft from the Montreal Canadiens. Him and Cole Caulfield have that chemistry together on the first line, but it's really, again, the Montreal Canadiens aren't going to be the best team this year. They have those two young studs with Caulfield and Suzuki. Those are pretty, like I said, that are draftable from the Canadiens team.
I think, draftable off the top in regular leagues like what we're doing for sure. But there is obviously some value in other players in keeper formats.
Yeah.
But yes, overall, what you're saying is true. But Juraj Slafkovsky is also going to start with the team. He can play
true.
9.
Very
I believe
true.
he can play 9 or 10 games before having to go back down. He's going to go to the, Laval Rocket. I think they're going to give him a serious look. So, hey. We'll see what happens, Steele. I should have prepared a few more snacks. I should have prepared a Gatorade or something. I don't know how we're
Wild
going to
Wing, eh?
Oh, bro, don't. Steele, we're having a great episode. Don't get me started. People, Steele's opened up a Pandora's box here. I'm coming up on a few picks. So is Steele. The man likes his chicken wings plain barbecue. Steele, can you confirm this? Your go-to selection is just plain barbecue.
It's just regular barbecue. I'm a simple man. I'm a simple guy, especially with my food. I don't like to get, very creative with a lot of the things I eat. But yes, barbecue, it is confirmed.
Okay, well, I just needed to say this since we need some filler content and it's going to be a while. I need to know the favorite wing flavor of our listeners, and also please put Steele to the grill here on this one. Who gets plain barbecue when you're ordering from Wild Wing when they have so many delicious options? This is not a sponsored ad read, by the way. This is just solo hot takes.
I'll tell you something else, Flip.
Uh-oh.
I've only actually ever had 2 flavors before. I've never had anything else. I've never had anything else than barbecue and honey garlic.
Steele, what do you even mean? In your entire life, bro. You have never had anything.
I can't do spicy. I can't do it.
Oh my god! Hey, no, hold on. I appreciate not being able to do spicy. Not everyone can do spicy. But bro, you might be living in the dark here. There are so much other things other than just. Hold on. Also, I'll give you credit because honey garlic is an elite flavor.
It is.
Honey garlic chicken wings are in my top 3 for sure. But you can't beat a hot and honey. And lately, I have just been crushing the dry rub. I feel a Cajun. I love that garlic parm. Anyway, don't get me started on chicken wings, but I appreciate you bringing up the wing flavors. And I'm not kidding. Let us know about these wing decisions in the comments. This is the kind of feedback I need, people. So thank you very much for that.
Look, I hopefully I don't get roasted too much.
Back to business, Steele. We're on a tangent here.
We are a little bit on the tangent. It looks like
hold on.
Bangers is auto drafting.
Hold on. Colton Parayko was just selected.
That's jeez.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, it's because he's auto drafting now. He's auto drafting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's auto.
Thank you. I'm back up here
now. So
Steele, look, now I have a center. I have a left wing. I have a right wing. I have one D-man, Sorokin and Jari in the cage. This is where the preparation for the draft gets so critical. Yes. And you and I have done 3 or 4 or 5 weeks of draft preparation. And here I am uncertain because I know I want to add to my decor here. But to me, there's a bunch of options. So maybe I wait, maybe I don't. This is where you can really go off the rails. So I have a feeling you might chirp me, but I'm going to take another D-man here in one pick, and I will wait for your take on it in
15 seconds.
Wow, I gave all that preamble, and now I'm really actually nervous about this pick here, pal. So
I already know who I'm selecting next. I already know who I've got. So who are you looking at?
I'm honestly looking. I think Drew Doughty is going to have another good season. Mikhail Sergachev is deeper down that lineup. I think he's going to have a good season. I might be able to wait for him. This is where I'm bouncing back and forth on. Rasmus Anderson, like if Rasmus Anderson is ranked this high still, and so is Jeff Petrie, I'm really concerned about where my options are going for D-men after it. But I think I'm really comfortable taking a guy who is a solid NHL defenseman in Seth Jones. Is this what I'm doing?
Look,
I did it.
Your categories for plus minus is really going to hurt with Seth Jones, but that's just one category. Hey, look, Patrick Kane was taken off the board right next. That's actually a guy who I was looking at for round 8.
Well, because look, the fact of what the point that you and I have brought up before about the overall outcome and the standings and what a team's going to do, we know there's nothing to like about the Chicago Blackhawks. And you mentioned the plus-minus category. This team is going to get pumped for a lot of goals.
Oh, yes.
But also, Seth Jones is going to be a piece of any good game that the Chicago Blackhawks have, defensively or offensively or otherwise. And he is going to be in the mix for at least 30, 40 points. I think also, Steele, maybe when teams get really counted out, maybe there's something to be said about stealing a couple of players who take that personally. Seth Jones is the only guy left on this roster. He's got to do something. Maybe this is a really bold angle. Like the more I say it, I don't know if I like this.
No, look, they're a bad team, but bad teams can still put up points. Patrick Kane's still going to put up points. Jonathan Toews, maybe he can get back into form potentially. I don't know. But Seth Jones and Patrick Kane are probably their best 2 players at this point. They're going to have to step up and do something if they want any chance. I don't think there's less than 0.002% chance to make the playoffs this year. But if they want any chance, Patrick Kane and Seth Jones got to play at the most elite level I've ever seen in my life.
And look, at the end of the day, there is only so many players and so many teams in the league, and taking elite players on bad teams is not always a bad thing. Maybe it's a bold strategy, and we are still at the top of this draft, Steele. My goodness.
We got many picks.
This is like Mount Everest here, pal. Like
there's a lot of selections in this.
I might be biting off more we can chew. We were like, 4 D-men, 10 D. It's like, oh, we should have added this. This is going to be great. Nah, I'm kidding. This is a lot of fun. And seriously, if you are tuning in or you are part of the draft, much love. We appreciate it. This is the kind of thing that, from the fantasy perspective, Steele, this is what you need to be listening to and breaking down, because these situational picks, you can't do enough research. You have to just do these drafts. Speaking of which, and we got to pay these bills, baby. And I want to tell you about Simply Safe. Customize the perfect system for your home in just a few minutes at simplysafe.com/LockedOnNHL. Save 20% on your Simply Safe security system when you sign up for an interactive monitoring plan, and you get your first month for free. Visit simplysafe.com today /LockedOnNetwork to learn more. That is simplysafe.com /LockedOnNHL, to learn more. There is no safe like Simply Safe. I'll say it again. There is no safe like Simply Safe. Let me hear what you are doing. You are on the clock.
You see the screen right now, Flip? You see the screen
barely,
right now?
But hey, you need a goalie.
I'm going to need to get my second goalie off the bat. We're running a little low on some top-tier goalies right now. I also need a Minnesota Wild boy as well.
Oh, yes,
Marc-Andre Fleury being the starting goaltender for the organization. I need my second goalie. I think Marc-Andre Fleury is that man. He's the man for the job, Flip. That's who I'm drafting in the 7th round.
Well, you need to do something here. We have at least one auto draft in this league, which is throwing things a little askew. But I think Marc-Andre Fleury still has it. And I'm not here for any of the Marc-Andre Fleury slander, because he is elite. He's a Hall of Famer, and he's proven. He's now bounced around to a number of different teams, because maybe before you say Crosby, Malkin, whatever. Anyway, love the pick. You're back on the clock. Give her.
Flip, what do you think about this guy? I don't think I'm going to be able to get back to him on my next selection. Braden Point. He is day-to-day right now, but he will be starting the season, fine. I believe.
Yeah, he'll be fine.
He will be fine. I got Steven Stamkos already. He's projected, hopefully, to play.
Pair him up?
Yeah, pair him up with, and he's also got the dual eligibility with Steven Stamkos as well. It might be a little bit of a reach, but I don't think I can wait for my next selection. I'm going to go with Braden Point here. I now have 3 Tampa Bay Lightning players on my roster, Flip.
I don't hate that, Steele. It's just, you never, look, this is sports. You never know what can happen. That might either excel you to the top of your league or maybe hinder you right off the top if the Tampa Bay Lightning struggle. Yeah, that's just the nature of the beast. But if you're going to double down on one team, why not take the best players on basically the most consistent performing team of the past 3 or 4 seasons? Braden Point has had his health issues, Steele, but I think he'll be healthy this year. So, hey, I'm with it. But I'm intrigued to see what our listeners think. Make sure you are dropping in the comments. You're going to be watching this and listening to this entire draft. Let us know the picks you like, you don't like. You've probably done a bunch of your own drafts already, so you might as well keep Steele and I honest here. We're hanging on for dear life for the rest of this draft. I'm up in 3 picks, Steele. Things are getting a little hazy over here. I might start selecting people in the KHL, but I'm going to hold it down.
Look, I'm struggling a little bit with these last couple of selections because I've already got all three of my centermen picked. I've got three centermen. I've got Steven Stamkos, Jack Eichel, Braden Point, my one left winger, Johnny Gaudreau, my one right winger, Mikko Rantanen, a defenseman, and Aaron Ekblad, and my two goalies, and Andrei Vasilevsky and Marc-Andre Fleury. I really like the look of my team right now, but I really do need a winger and a defenseman for my next couple of selections. So that's where I'm looking to for the next couple of picks.
Yeah, I'm looking down that D roster, and now that I kind of got a little spicy with the Seth Jones edition, I think I'm okay to wait a little bit on a D-man or two because I'm seeing a couple of forwards steal. You mentioned the center position. It's a tricky one, like all one season you think, oh, loaded with centermen. The next season, it kind of sticks you. I am probably going to go to the center position, and I liked what I saw in minimal action. I don't know if maybe I'm down this rabbit hole of taking really good players on bad teams, but I'm going to take Thomas Hertl. I think he's going to put up a lot of points.
That's not a problem whatsoever. That is
he's going to put up a lot of points this year, Steele.
Yeah,
and I'm okay
we just talked about that with the Chicago Blackhawks.
Yeah, I'm okay with taking some of these guys. Like, look, you watch enough hockey, you know that these guys can get it done. And I really do think Thomas Hertl is one of those guys. He got paid. He got his contract. I believe they signed the man. Now I'm talking about, like, I know San Jose hockey, which I clearly on the fence about. Thomas Hertl is going to have a big fantasy year.
Yeah, and look, we're still a couple of picks away from our next selection. So I'm going to take a look at some of the other rosters as well. Tucks and Pillows, who had the first overall pick. Connor McDavid, Rupe Hintz, Sebastian Aho, Kyle Connor, John Carlson, Rasmus Dahlin, and Sergei Bobrovsky. The team's looking pretty good. If I gotta admit that.
I like that you're reaming it off. Why don't you hit me with what you have top to bottom very quickly?
My team so far: Steven Stamkos, Jack Eichel, Braden Point, Johnny Gaudreau, Mikko Rantanen, Aaron Ekblad, Andrei Vasilevsky, and Marc-Andre Fleury.
Yeah, like this is one of those setups, Steele, that because I do so much dynasty and keeper drafting, I look at these setups and I just see so many great options that it's
and he's back.
So sometimes it is hard to really put your finger on which is going to succeed. But yeah, I like what you got going on. I'll get you with a quick recap of mine. I got a couple.
I'm looking at your team right now here, big guy. I'm looking at your team.
I got Nick Suzuki, Thomas Hertl at the center position, Kaprizov, Laine, Fox, Seth Jones, Sorokin, Yari. I don't know. Hey, I'm feeling it as well. Time will tell, and it sounds and looks like that because we have so many auto drafters, that time length might be 4 to 6 years. Before we get this draft done, Steele. But so far, I'm feeling
this is going to be broken down into 3 episodes for sure. We're already at
of course,
the 46 mark. We still got 15, 14 more selections for our rosters right now. It's going to be a couple of long episodes, but hey, this is what we needed to do because you and I got some busy weeks ahead. I'm going to be on the road for 5 or 6 days, driving across country, moving to Vancouver. You've got your wedding coming up in 2 weeks. By the way, congratulations for that.
Thank you, sir.
Tell your fiance Jill as well. Congratulations to her.
I appreciate that, brother. And you know what?
We're really busy.
You're straight up right. And at the end of the day, this is an exciting time because hockey is back. This is a straight up blessing to be able to do this with our listeners and our fans. And I just cannot wait to sit down and enjoy some of the action of this upcoming season because we can both definitely get down with the fact that there are some really, really good teams coming out of the offseason. Obviously, the Ottawa Senators, but even some other teams like Columbus Blue Jackets. What's going to happen with Gaudreau? You selected him. The Calgary Flames, obviously lots going on there. Huberdeau has looked really good. Can he continue to sell it? There is a lot going on here.
Did you see that move he put on the other day in the preseason? That was incredible.
That is what I'm alluding to. So, hey, preseason action is one thing, but some of these players have a lot to prove, right? Like they're coming from other markets. They're in new lineups. So seeing what we've seen from Huberdeau and others, Yeah, man, there's a lot to be excited about.
Look,
So
Huberdeau, Kadri, with their new teams for the Calgary Flames, Matthew Tkachuk with the Florida Panthers, Claude Giroux with the Ottawa Senators as well. There's a lot of players, a lot of talented players on some new organizations this season. So very excited to see them in new jerseys.
most definitely. I'm on the clock here. The safety net of me wants to maybe throw that third goalie in the mix right now because we know that can be an important asset steal. I'm not going to do that. I want to go back up to my forward lineup because as much as I like the Suzuki and Hurdle angles and the angle of taking great players on bad teams, I have to remember that I just need to take some players that are hopefully gonna go off this season. And look, now I got 18 seconds and I'm going all over the map. I want Jesper Bratt. Bushnevich might have a good year, but I love the dual eligibility of Adrian Kempe. Actually, he's available in all three slots, so I'm taking Adrian Kempe.
That's also someone I had in my queue as well because of that eligibility of center, left wing, right winger. Plus, again, that top line for the LA Kings. We look, the LA Kings are going to be fantastic this season. Kevin Fiala, new addition. We've talked about Sean Durzi. Hopefully, Drew Doughty can remain fully healthy for the entire season. We've talked about Cal Peterson and Jonathan Quick splitting time in the crease. Adrian Kempe, Robert Thomas off the board. Other guys who also have that dual eligibility as well. Sorry, Robert Thomas, who has that dual eligibility center right wing as well. I've talked about him a lot at length too. So some good guys going off the board right now. In what round? We're in round 9. We got a lot of time left in this draft.
Hey, look, Steele, we have a lot of time left, but realistically, taking a look at some of the players that went off the board early is making me realize even more so that there are some awesome pieces still left. And I understand that, we're not even halfway through the draft, but this is a grind, people. Like jumping on to a fantasy league and doing fantasy hockey or otherwise, there's an element of luck for sure, but you got to stay dedicated. Like even listen to Steele and I talking about it right now. Guys who have done a bunch of drafts, it can be a serious grind and you got to stay sharp. So one of those ways that you can do that is by subscribing and listening to this podcast, obviously. But hey, Steele, so far we're feeling this draft. We're feeling our picks. So much time left to go, though. Things can go a little off the rails very quickly, right?
They can go off the rails right now. Flip, you are on the clock in a minute. You've got the next selection. Who are you looking at? Forward, right wing, defense?
I'm on the clock. You're on the clock in a minute.
Oh, it is me. Sorry, that is my bad. Look,
yeah, that's yours. Pal.
It is me next.
Hey,
heyo. I'm on the clock now. I've got to go a defenseman. I only have Aaron Ekblad.
Yeah,
my defense might look. I'm going a defenseman next, but I already know my defense are going to be hurting for the rest of the draft. So I'm probably going to have to make an early trade if I want to stack my defense a little bit better. But I'm looking at Rasmus Anderson or Devin Taves right now. Both guys are electric. I think Devin Taves is the second best option besides Cale Makar. He put up 56 points last year. He's a plus 37, so that helps. Shots, blocks, hits are decent. I got to go Devin Taves as my second defenseman here. I already know my defense are going to be lacking a little bit, but I need a defenseman right now, and so I'm okay with that selection.
Yeah, Devin Taves, I had my speculation over what he's going to do this year. Hey, Steele, this is getting a little bit dicey already. So I'm looking at a guy. I'm going to be taking a D-man as well. Hopefully, I'll explain it in a second because you are back on the clock.
Look, I've already got my 3 centermen, so I'm going to try to stay away from centermen as of right now. I really like Nikolai Ehlers, 31 goals, 32 assists, plus 17 projections, over 250 shots. I think in the 10th round, that's actually kind of a steal or probably a proper pick right now. I'm going to go Nikolai Ehlers because I already have 3 centermen as of right now.
I love it. And hey, some of these positional things you're going to have to get pressed into a little bit. So you almost, need to feed those positions. So I understand.
Yes.
I understand the selection. Also, the Winnipeg Jets are one of those maybe enigma clubs that we don't fully understand what is going on outcome-wise. but the top 6 is really good. Blake Wheeler, Mark Scheifele. I don't need to go. I might get a Cole Perfetti jersey if he continues to look good. So I like the pick, Steele. They're going to score some goals, though.
Yeah, they are going to score some goals. Look, there's still some guys who are ranked really high still on the board right now. Dylan Larkin, he's ranked 79th. Pierre-Luc Dubois ranked 97th. Ivan Provorov 83rd. Rasmus Anderson 66th. There's a lot of guys for this, still on the board right now.
Yeah, and look, I appreciate some of so we've got some chirps going on in the draft chat. Obviously, that's not always going to be an easy thing for you to see. This draft, we got Matt Murray going off the board. We have some things going on here, Steele, that are hard for you and I to keep track of. I have my center positions filled up. I have 1 left winger, I have 1 right winger, and 2 D-men. This D-core is getting real thin, and I mentioned about the guy that I have an eye on. Mikhail Sergachev is going to have an increased opportunity filling some minutes for the Ryan McDonagh, departure. I really like what is going on for the Tampa Bay Lightning still, and I'm going to take Mikhail Sergachev, and I just did.
Look, I like that pick as well. I couldn't take that was someone I was looking at for defenseman as well, but I already have 3 Tampa Bay Lightning players on my roster. I can't go a 4th one because that's just stacking one team way too high and just putting them really, as favorites. That was a guy I was looking at, but because he was already he's on the Tampa Bay Lightning, I couldn't make that selection.
Yeah, you can't stack. You can't, as much as the angle of connecting some players together, you can't stack the deck too heavy, Steele. We can't get too out of control here, which it might happen here because look, this is a volatile situation. You know what I'm saying? Fantasy drafts, you can go in confident all day, and then you come out and take a look and go, "Ooh, look at what happened to me." But so far, I'm feeling it. I love my goaltending. Sorokin and Jari, I'm fine with. I don't know what you think about that.
I like your goaltending as well. Sorokin and Jari, again, like we talked about, Metropolitan Division boys over there, some young studs on some, obviously the Pittsburgh Penguins are still looking to make a deep playoff run. I think they can as well. Obviously, re-signing those big name guys and some of the additions they made this offseason. Ilya Sorokin, hopefully he can just continue to stand on his head and get this New York Islanders team into a playoff spot.
Yeah, it might be, it might be dicey going up against those killers in the Metro. I do think they'll be better. I just Steele, when a team does as little as they did, when you expected them to at least make a little bit of moves.
Yeah,
that's just hard energy to deal with going into the season, and especially in a small market like Long Island. So again, not to be a broken record, that team needed some supporting cast, some additional offense, and they didn't get it done. I just really do think that Sorokin is good enough. Great coaching, but hey. This is why this is the best time for this show, because all you and I have been doing is predicting, prognosticating, giving what we think is going to happen, and we're about to see what is actually going to happen. And that's why you got to be on it, people. These first couple of weeks, you got to be hitting that waiver wire heavy.
Thank you so much for making the Locked On Fantasy Hockey Podcast your first listen every single day. Don't forget, we are free and available on all podcast platforms, which also includes YouTube. So make sure you hit the subscribe. Make sure you hit the follow button. Flip and I appreciate all the love and support out there. If you have any bets on the hockey games to start the regular season, good luck with your money out there. And we shall see you back here again tomorrow for more of the Fantasy Hockey Draft.